joining us today on the Man Blitz. I'd just like to take a moment to remind you to follow us on Twitter at Man Blitz. Visit us at www.freemanblitz.com. You can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Breaker. And don't forget to view us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. Hey, everybody, and welcome into a very special edition of the Man Blitz. We're doing, this is really our final college episode in the season. I mean, the season's technically over. We're going to talk about bowl games, the final playoff rankings, who got put where, and what we think should have happened. But on top of that, it's Christmas.
Yes, sir.
Whoop, whoop.
Just a few
Christmas.
days away. Christmas, man. Oh,
So everybody enjoy. Feast your eyes on this 10-year-old picture of Jeremy from 10 Christmases ago. You like that?
yeah.
That's nice.
I don't know what I'm doing there. It's not
Nice.
really even a smile. It's like a.
Wow.
I can't even recreate it.
It's real awkward. So
Sons of bitches.
anytime Jeremy says something stupid, we're just gonna.
Might as well keep that up then.
I know, right?
Hey, because my best friend's Santa Claus.
All right, guys. So y'all know what we do. Let's go ahead and throw back the nog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Can we? Oh, Kwesi's running away. he's like, oh, we drinking tonight?
Spoiler alert: Kwesi just woke up from a nap.
Unless he comes
Way
back,
unprepared.
unless he comes back and watches this episode, he won't even know we're talking about it.
Oh, we're gonna get a text tomorrow.
Anyway.
Yep.
Did I miss anything?
No. We're just over here talking about Yule tides and
Nog.
hey, nog.
All right, Ben.
I know.
All right, gentlemen.
Mm.
So first, we're going to run through a couple of the bowl games and talk about which ones might be interesting. I'm really just mostly going to talk about the New Year's Six, but we've got the Orange Bowl with number 5 Texas A&M versus number 13 North Carolina.
Mhm.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
That should be a good game by itself right there.
Agreed.
Yeah, it should. And we've got Georgia versus – I'm sorry, these are out of order, guys. Georgia versus Cincinnati in the Peach Bowl. We've got Alabama versus Notre Dame in the Rose Bowl. Florida versus Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl. And Clemson versus Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl. Now, as you know, these rankings came out, and nothing really matters outside of the top 6. So at number 6, we had Oklahoma. Number 5, we had Texas A&M. 4 was Ohio State. 3 was Notre Dame. 2 was Clemson. And number 1, of course, was Alabama. So let me throw this at you. Gentlemen, I need your top 4 teams. Your top 4. Who you got?
I think Notre Dame was number 4.
Yeah. Yeah, Notre Dame's 4, Ohio State's 3.
Forgive me, I'm not looking at it. All right, Kwesi. Oh, that's backwards. You guys can't even see that.
Yeah, we can. Now we can't. What's going on here?
Let's try this again.
That's backwards.
All right, Kwesi. Give me your top 4 teams.
You're writing it backwards. To us, we see it. It's backwards.
You see it backwards?
The K is backwards.
It's not now, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Write it normal.
I did. I wrote normal the first time.
And you the one that said it was backwards, not us.
Write you a normal K, bro. There you go.
Okay.
There you go, bud.
For some reason, it's reversed on my screen.
The underline is backwards.
Okay, I'll fix that. Don't worry.
For you guys that can't see, for you guys that aren't
again.
watching it and you're listening to this, Andrew's a little off.
A little.
Way off. I'm way
He's
off.
a little off.
What you got going on, man? What's up?
Yeah, what are we doing? The top 4? Who we think our top 4 teams?
Give me your top 4
top
teams.
4.
Your
I think-
playoff teams. We are going to do our
top
own college football playoff. We
I
are
got
going to
you.
take our own little committee here, and we are going to decide our top 4.
I think number 1 should be Clemson. Number 2 should be Alabama.
Nobody gonna be able to see that, Andrew, because your big old head.
Ooh.
No, he didn't.
What's
Look,
wrong with that E?
he slid all the way out. It's fine. Your
Number
Georgia handwriting.
3. Who you got?
number 3, I guess Ohio State, and then Texas A&M.
Okay. 4. Texas.
Dear God.
A&M. TNA. All right, Jeremy.
I think number 1 should be Alabama. 2 should be Clemson. 3 should be Ohio State, and 4 should be Texas A&M.
Why you still that Chalkman's daughter, man?
I know.
She don't know.
And what do you think? Now, who do you think the top 4 should be, Andrew? I feel like that was supposed to be thrown in there.
1, I've got Alabama.
This
2,
guy.
Clemson.
I feel like we're in the 30s, and I'm watching anyway.
Yeah.
You're watching what?
My teacher struggle up there after a bender.
Well, we have been drinking.
Just now.
Man.
Oh man.
Okay. So
Andrew's that student, like, don't call on him.
Don't call me.
Don't call him.
Andrew's like, don't call me. Don't call me. What?
So this is where it gets difficult, because I personally don't believe that Ohio State should be in after 6 games.
Okay.
And I'm hearing a lot of this talk from other coaches as well. And so I'm going to omit them. And I'm also going to omit Notre Dame for their embarrassing loss.
Okay.
So I would go Texas A&M.
Who you got it for? Cincy?
No, I can't. I can't do it. I know they don't belong. You know they don't belong. 4, I'm going to go Oklahoma. Who came in at number 6? Okay, so the 3-man blitz playoff would consist of number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Clemson.
We did have pre-production meetings.
Number 3.
Ohio
Number
State.
3 looks like it would be Ohio State, and number 4 would be
Texas A&M.
Well, I don't know. We all 3 had Texas A&M. So Texas A&M may come in number 3 and Ohio State number 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you have too much time on your hands. Man.
We do. My handwriting's terrible. You guys are going to have to forgive me.
No.
Okay, so we're going to keep this up here, and we're going to go over where we think the committee may have possibly went wrong.
Okay.
Okay, so why did you guys rank the teams where you did?
Well,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I understand what you're saying, Andrew, about Ohio State. You
Yes.
know, they played 6 games, and their 6th game was their conference championship. They've won all their games, and I'm not convinced that if they had played all their games, they wouldn't have won all of them too. Have they looked great? No. I mean, Notre Dame got just destroyed just now in their championship game. You know, they did beat Clemson, so they had a 1-1. So, that's why I don't buy it. It's hard not to put them in either. Texas A&M only lost 1 game, and that was to, who was that, to Bama?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would put that's why I put Texas A&M in and drop Notre Dame, because Notre Dame it's not like they just lost to Clemson. They got destroyed by Clemson. When they didn't have Trevor Lawrence, it was a really close game. It went to overtime. They won. That's cool. They're obviously a good team. But when Trevor Lawrence came in and they had time to adjust, whatever, they got demolished. So I don't know. Texas A&M looked good ever since. Ohio State, if you want to drop them, that's cool. I could understand that, but I still think they're a good team. I think that we just all don't like Ohio State. That's why I still have them in. And Cincinnati, if you're going to throw a team in there, why not throw Cincinnati in there? They've not lost.
Group of 5, I can't do it. I just can't justify it. And we're going to get to that later. That's an entirely different discussion all its own. But think about Ohio State is in their two top 25 matchups. If you watch, Justin Fields greatly underperformed. He played terrible games in both of those games against halfway decent defenses, and they came very close to actually losing their freaking conference championship.
But
I mean, it was a tight game. It was a knockdown dragout against Northwestern. I don't think they really stand a chance against any of these teams.
I don't either. But I probably still think I think we do got the top 4 teams. You know, if that makes sense. And again, I don't like Ohio State. I don't think they should have been in there because they didn't play enough games. I think the Big Ten, I think Ohio State, and I think the NCAA should have done something in order to make sure they played enough games in order to get in. But that didn't happen. They just kind of put them in there by name. But again, I think they are top 4 or 5 team. So it's hard to put them out of there. I think Clemson should have been number 1, only because they played as the top team. They've dominated. The only game they lost is the one without Trevor Lawrence, and they just barely lost that one. So to punish them because of that one game, and you've had them number 1 all season long, is otherwise is wrong to me. Texas A&M, they played strong. They lost against a good Alabama team. So they should definitely be in there. Notre Dame should be out because Notre Dame struggled against Clemson in that first win. They went overtime with that. They also played against North Carolina, which they struggled with them at the beginning, but then kind of opened it up at the end. But it wasn't an easy win as it may look. So I don't think they should have been in there at all.
Yeah, and here's my thing. Here's my thing with Texas A&M, right? Like them and Notre Dame, they both have 1 loss, and they're both 2 teams that are definitely in the playoffs already, right? But Texas A&M has been destroying people, and Notre Dame just got destroyed. Like when they lost, it was still a pretty good game. So if you're looking at it subjectively, they both have 1 loss to top 2 teams, but one team didn't get just blown out, and the other one did. So what's the difference?
The one thing that separates them is Notre Dame fan base is way bigger than Texas A&M. So show me the money.
You know, if I was and I don't see why they don't do this. I know we've talked about it, and it's not the topic of discussion right now. But how you don't take all of this information and everything every season since the college football playoffs been around, and you take all of it and you look at it again subjectively, and you say, there's a legitimate chance or a reason that all of these other teams, at least, 4, 5, 6, maybe more teams deserve to be in this conversation, to deserve to be in a playoff system. How you don't do it is it's just crazy. The fact that one of these teams got screwed, which in this case, it's Texas A&M. I mean, they obviously deserve a chance to go and play, but hopefully they take it like if it was like court, they put all of their findings in and say, hey, here's what we found. This is why we need to go and add more games to the playoff. Yeah. I think that's the way it should be. And until it's that, you can't find out who the real champion is.
You can have the argument with Oklahoma here. They started out rough, but, man, they came back strong. They've been dominating teams. They've been looking really good, and they are conference champions. So, I mean, they've got good records.
That's why I like the 8-team with 5 Power 5 teams as whoever wins the conference championship, because that adds weight. If you're a conference champion, it means something. You'll go, because right now you got a Pac-12 champion. It didn't mean anything.
No.
Yeah, I've seen another system. A guy on the show, commentator, he was saying pretty much 8 teams, but also have each of your conference teams play against another conference. So you ACC would play the SEC at one point during that season, and they would play the Big Ten during that season one time.
So it's kind of like, most of the bowl games are kind of like that now. You know what I mean? Like but
now you can look at which conference is actually better. You're actually playing against stiffer competition from across the board, that kind of thing, and yet have the top 5, whoever win the conferences, and then the other 3 from wherever.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
There's a lot of reasons why they should do it, and I really don't see any that they should not. People say, well, it's money. And I'm like, it's more games, it's more money. To me, it doesn't make sense.
But it's taken away. Again, I don't know how all the bowls are laid out. So what I'm getting at is some teams come from like the Orange Bowl, and maybe from certain areas. Okay, we're gonna get teams from. I think it's the SEC and like the Pac-10 would say whatever it's gonna be like that. Whatever the traditions they have, it goes out the window. Now we got to get 2 teams that you were forcing us to have.
Yeah, but you would know that they would throw that out in an instant because they'll get 2 better teams with something that actually means something in a playoff game.
Yeah, I don't
Right.
know.
To me, it seems like it's more marketable. Therefore, it would give you more money. Therefore,
Yeah.
they probably don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd care because it's going to give them more money.
Yeah.
Should anyway.
All right, gents. Well, interesting discussion, but we're going to move on a little bit. Kwesi, I got one for you, bud, and I think you might like this one. Brian Kelly, Dabo Sweeney, and Jimbo Fisher have made it no secret that they do not believe Ohio State belongs in the playoffs because of the limited number of games they were actually able to participate in. How do you respond to this if you are Ohio State? Ryan Day, what do you do?
If I'm Ohio State, I keep quiet because there's no way I can defend this. I know there's no way I could justify on paper legally and say look, why I should be in there. Besides being, I know I'm a top team. I already know that, but I can't just put that out there. That's too much ego. So Ohio State should have played enough games. They should have did the exact same thing that BYU did and played against the Raging Cajuns, played against Cincinnati, whoever, to legitimately get their games in. They did win their national title, their conference title. So they did do that, just barely against Northwestern, but still they should have played enough games, or even the NCAA should have forced them to play enough games in order to get in. But again, if I'm Ohio State, I keep it mum, because there's no reason, there's no way to justify why I should be in there.
Yeah, I think the only way that they could do anything, they don't say anything before. They let their play on the field determine that they should be there. They go and they win, at least win the first game and get to the championship. If you lose that first game, everybody's going to look and say, that's why you didn't deserve to be there in the first place. And,
it's a lose-lose situation for them because let's say
they're going to have to win.
Let's say something crazy like they run the table. Then they could say, well, it's only because they played X amount of games and they're fresher, less injuries, X, Y, Z.
Good point.
Why they won it all.
This is the reason.
And if they lose, then it's like, hey, they should have been in there in the first place.
This is the reason that a lot of these coaches are complaining because they're fresh and they're like, I know what it's like to play through an 11, 12 game grueling schedule, 10 game, whatever. Yeah. And our players are worn out. We're exhausted. We've used our whole playbook, this and that, I see the argument, and I definitely understand it from a coaching perspective.
Definitely.
All right, Jeremy, I'm going to hop to you real quick. Yeah. Cincinnati, as you mentioned earlier, is a team that did everything right in their head coach's words and was still highly ranked by the playoff committee, yet ultimately it's leaked that they were never actually considered for a playoff spot. What kind of message does this send to the group of 5 teams, like something we saw with UCF back in 2017? And how should the NCAA and college football playoff fix this situation?
Well, quite simply, I don't think that when you're talking about the college football committee and all of them, and Kwesi would probably agree with me, they don't want them in there. They don't want a non-Power 5 school in there. It may cause intrigue by your avid fan, but nobody wants to see Cincinnati in there. They don't bring the dollar value. No. If you're Cincinnati and any other non-Power 5 school, you're going to have to do the only thing that you can do, which is schedule Power 5 schools and hope that in that year, because they schedule them so far out, like 6-7 years plus in advance, that they're good so that if they play them and they win, it means something. Yeah. Other than that, they have nothing. Maybe they can lobby. They can get together and lobby to change the college football playoff setting so that, they let other at-large teams in or – however, they can do their own championship games and include them, and it's nothing but conference champions. Mm-hmm. However you want to do it. Until then, if it's a 4-game system and there's a Power 5 conference, you guarantee right now it doesn't matter, and you've seen it, if they go undefeated. They'll never make it. And the only way they would ever make it is if they had scheduled maybe a couple of top 25 teams and beat the living crap out of them. That's the only way they'll ever be considered.
Yeah, I think the Power 5, especially the top 2, Clemson and Alabama right now, they got it in their own hands. In other words, they got to lose it. Mm-hmm. So they got to have a losing season in order to force them to put somebody else in there.
Yep.
And that's not even saying it's going to be like a Cincinnati still.
No, it probably wouldn't. And, a couple of those guys, the last decade or even since the college football inception, if you want to put it in that terms, your Alabama, Clemson, they've been in basically every one. I think Clemson's been in every single playoff, and Alabama's missed one. There's only a couple of teams that could probably lose one game and still make it if they won out, and there are 2 of them. Other teams, Texas A&M, they're not one of those teams. They lost one game. They didn't make it.
They're the very first.
Squeezed it in.
Yeah, they're the very first one-loss SEC team not to make the college football playoff.
And, it is what it is. I think it just shows that it's a flawed system. But
Definitely.
All right. Well, due to time, Kwesi, I'm going to go ahead and move on back to you. I got another question for you.
Got it.
And I know we've discussed this in depth between the 3 of us, but I thought it was an interesting question enough to bring it up to our viewers. What do you think of the decision to move the Rose Bowl from beautiful Pasadena, California to Dallas, Texas, due to attendance policies, and a lot probably due to Brian Kelly's bitching and moaning? We'll call it that.
I don't think it had. I won't say it didn't have anything to Kelly do, bitching and moaning, because I think they want to do it anyway because it's all about money. Period. California's put a ban now on attendance in sports arenas. So they couldn't have their fans there just because of the pandemic that's going on. So California's trying to do right and be healthy and keep everyone healthy. And college football is trying to get that money. They don't care where it's at. They will go to the middle of China where it happened at, and then let's play the football game here as long as we can get some money at.
It's true.
They don't care what's going on. It's just all about money, as it always is. And you're sacrificing the kids getting sick. So let's say. I think Tennessee just backed out of a bowl because of COVID. If I'm correct.
Yep, they did.
Well, so what if this pops off after their bowl game in Texas? That one of those teams ends up getting it. Are they going to show that they are right or justified, or do we keep it low key in order to keep that championship game going?
Oh, it's a valid question. Maybe they would postpone it's the last game of the season. I think they could wait and put them all in a bubble, wait till they're all healthy. But it's a valid point, and you're right. You've hit it right on the head. I mean, they don't care. They don't care about the traditions either. They just want the money. Oh. But I mean, you can't really fault them in all honesty. It's a business. I mean, that's what they want. Exactly. They don't have any vested interest in any of these teams becoming the champion. They just want the money, but it's a business. So of course they want the money.
I mean, see, that's where it gets me, the tradition, man. The Rose Bowl, the parade of roses, this and that. Sure, you can't have the parade, but man, that nothing is like sitting down on your couch on a New Year's Day and flipping on the television, seeing the sunset over the Pasadena mountains at halftime of the freaking Rose Bowl. There's nothing like it, man.
But see, that's not anything to do with anybody, NCAA, the AM, anybody. It's all to do with California, and that's their state law that they've put in.
I mean, they can still play the game. They just can't have fans in attendance.
Exactly. They can still play the game.
Yeah.
It's just, I know, and I'm sure the attendance policy is probably like a certain amount. I'm sure it ain't no fan. More than likely.
It might be none.
It might be.
Even I'm pretty sure throughout the whole season it's been like 25%. I think that's what it's been for SEC schools anyway. Mm. And even if it was just not even friends, just family members, they could go to that game. Why not? But if you can get more fans in the stands than Texas, screw it, I guess.
They gotta get their money, man. They gotta get their money.
I wonder how much money it would be difference if you could let, say, 25% versus none.
Yeah, and like you said, I understand it's a business. I really do understand it's a business, but that's what people need to understand, that money becomes before human life. Unfortunately, when you put it out blunt.
When they look at it like this, they'll look at it like, okay, are we going to play the game anyway? Like, no matter what? Yes. Will the kids want to play it no matter what? Yes.
Yeah.
Then let's get as much money as we can out of it and let the chips fall where they may.
Exactly.
Let the people fall where they may.
Yeah, let the people fall.
Again, hopefully everybody stays safe and, have a good playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
All right, gentlemen. Well, Jeremy, this one's aimed at you, but Kwesi, definitely feel free to chime in here. With the Heisman watch coming to a close with the end of the season, we have 3 quarterbacks, a wide receiver, and a running back with a legitimate case for the trophy. Who should the trophy belong to, and why? But after that, where is the trophy going to go?
Yeah, I think that, and I'm a fan, obviously, and I watch and I see it every year, and we all know that this Heisman's basically a pageant show, and it's whoever the quarterback that seems to be the most popular wins. It's a popularity contest. So I have no doubt that it's going to go to Trevor Lawrence, but I think that it should go to Najee Harris. To me, Najee Harris, a running back hasn't won it in a ton of time, a long time. And
Mark Ingram was the last one, I believe.
And that's dumb. I mean, Mark Ingram was a good running back, and Najee Harris is, if I'm not mistaken, just blown out a ton of running back numbers. And, you can look at
5 touchdowns in the SEC championship.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous. And, it's kind of ridiculous that on this top 5, you have a quarterback, a receiver, and a running back from the same team.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to look at something that's ridiculous, that's ridiculous. One of the other quarterbacks is Kyle Trask. They got destroyed so bad, and he looked so bad in that championship game. There's no way he'll win.
Yeah.
And I don't think he should win because it was a bad performance. You can't really have that bad of a performance. Devontae Smith could win it. I would rather personally see it be a running back or a receiver just to break it up. But I really honestly think, not just because of that it would be a 2-man race. It'd be Trevor Lawrence or it'd be Najee Harris. I'd rather see Najee Harris, but at the same time, I don't like Bama. So,
mine is somebody who slipped through the cracks. For Jared Guantanamo.
Oh, shut up.
Hold on a minute.
Oh, the Vols quarterback. I think he should have it.
Thanks, Baker, for that one, by the way.
No, I think Trevor Lawrence should have it, and I think he should win it. He's dominated for more than one season. I know we don't count more than one season, but he's dominated for more than one season. He's a good face for the NCAA. He's a quarterback. Of course, you have that running back, Najee Harris, is doing great, awesome. But again, if you can put a face to it, it's usually his quarterbacks. I think it's going to be him, Clemson.
And before you go, Andrew, I want to throw one more thing in there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I think it kind of should knock any Alabama player in there because there's 3 other, because the team is just so damn loaded with talent. So if you took out Najee Harris, would the team still win? Probably, and they'd probably still win plugging in their next guy. If you look at Trevor Lawrence, the one loss they had, they brought in that real talented freshman. It was a good game, but they lost. You look at the same team that they played again with him in it, they destroyed him. So, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, they went to Browntown. That's where Cleveland plays. Yeah, but 2 run to Trevor Lawrence's aid, not that he needs it, because I feel like more than likely he is going to win the Heisman. His stats aren't quite the best. He was out for 2 games due to COVID protocols, but look at what he did for the entire sport of college football before the season even started. He was the guy who had no reason to play. He didn't have any reason to play this season. He could have sat out, still would have been the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Nobody would have batted it out. Nobody would have thought anything about it. But this man came out and lobbied for all of those, his brothers over here who wanted to play and said, hey, we need to have a season. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to go. He started the hashtag we want to play, the hashtag let us play. He was pushing that. He was a huge force in the reason that we even have a season this year. And I think that it couldn't be more appropriate for him to have the Heisman. I mean,
it's hard to argue against you. And I honestly, I think that's who it's going to go to. Yeah. And I can't argue against him deserving it. He's definitely deserving of it. So if he gets it, hey, the only thing now is where's he going to go? Is he going to go to Jacksonville or is he going to go to the Jets?
I did hear an interview this morning where Trevor Lawrence said that he was okay going to the Jets.
Of course he's supposed to say that. I was on the way to work
this morning. No. Eli said screw you.
I mean, there's a bunch of guys that did that, but come on.
Eli got a lot of back. And I'm saying that because his dad was in the league, his brother was already in the league, so he can say stuff like that.
Hey, man, Trevor Lawrence he's that dude. Everybody wants him. I think he could get away with it. But he said that it would be a culture shock and that he would accept the responsibility of trying to right that ship, but he knows that he's not just going to go in there and just start stacking up dubs.
I mean, so. if it's me, but I bet that was, do you want to go to the Jets? Of course he's going to say that. But if the question is, do you want to go to the Jets or do you want to go to Jacksonville? I'd probably rather go to Jacksonville because
absolutely
the weather's better. It's Florida.
The weather's better.
I mean, why not? You got to be there most of the time. You're going to live there, and you got talent. The Jets got crap talent. They got Frank Gore fucking running the football for 30 times. Anyway.
All right, gentlemen. It's time for the final segment. 4th down. You going to punt or you going to go for it?
All right.
All right, we'll go. We'll start with Kwesi, then we'll go to Jeremy.
Jarrett should be the Heisman. Oh, sorry.
Okay. First, Texas A&M.
Yes.
Punt or go for it?
Go for it, I guess.
Do you have anything to say on them?
Again, I think they should have been in. I'm not a big SEC fan, but I do think they played their schedule. They've done what they needed to do to be in the playoffs, and it's real unfortunate that they're not, and Notre Dame is.
Agreed. Technically, I'll go for it just to say that, I think they got snubbed. I think it's a pretty big snub, and the fact that everybody fell over themselves to let Ohio State play their conference championship game and then struggle against Northwestern, it's even a bigger smack in the face.
And also, I think it's a smack in the face with the SEC, and I'm saying that because Texas A&M wasn't supposed to do what they're doing. It's still supposed to be teams like Georgia, supposed to be teams like Florida, other teams that not Texas A&M to be the face of SEC, but they did what they're supposed to and recruited well and won their games.
True. Is what it is.
The Army Knights. Punt or go for it?
They're gonna be in the bowl game with punt.
I'm gonna go for it. They got put in when Tennessee backed out of that Liberty Bowl. They got slid in, and it's ridiculous that they weren't already in a bowl game. They had a much better record. It just goes to show you again that it's about money and not about how you play. I'm happy for them. I'll be rooting for them. I hope they play well. So go Army.
Go Army.
Go Army.
All right. Any major bowl opt-outs? Punt or go for it?
Punt. I don't even know what it is.
I'll punt just for time's sake.
We can talk about that one for days.
There's a lot of reasons going in behind a lot of those.
Same thing we get every year, though. All right, the Big 12 championship game, punt or go for it?
Punt. I don't know who was in it.
I'm gonna
was
punt.
sleeping.
I'm gonna punt also because it ultimately had no bearing on playoffs. So
well, that's why I put it in here because I knew we wouldn't really get around to it.
Yeah, so it was a pretty good game. It was Iowa State, Oklahoma.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a pretty good game. I was rooting for Iowa State.
Yep.
Yeah. And again, I've said that the Big 12 is a conference to reckon with, but that's all I've said.
Hey, dude, their offenses are something else.
Yep.
Okay, and last but definitely least, the Pac-12 championship game had some strange goings on leading up to that game. Y'all want to punt or go for it?
Punt.
I think Andrew's getting mad at us. I'm also
you're good.
I'm also gonna punt because
that just goes to show how insignificant these games actually were.
Exactly. Pac-12 had absolutely no bearing on anything at all as far as the whole scope of college football went.
Yeah. Now, if you brought up the subject, do I think Cincinnati's going to win? Yeah, I think Cincinnati's going to win.
I'm going to fight you.
If they do.
We've seen it time in and time out. The sleeping giant going into the bowl game, have all the opt-outs, not give a crap, don't want to be there. And then like UCF and Auburn in 2017, and UCF claimed that national championship, and we still hear about it. It was the same game, too. It was the Peach Bowl. So, wake up, dogs. Come on.
I don't know.
Anyway,
it'll be hard for them to go in there and play as hard as they can because they don't care. I mean, I don't know. I would, I guess, but
yeah, we're also sitting at home on the couch watching the game. So
true.
All right, so thank you all for joining us. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, all that good stuff. Happy New Year's. We're not there yet. We'll have
and he didn't say Hanukkah. He said
Hanukkah. Yeah, it's Hanukkah.
He said Kwanzaa and the whole now, but not Hanukkah.
Light the menorah. I don't know. Put up the Christmas tree. Jeremy got a Christmas tree.
I do.
Kwesi don't. He's not festive.
No.
But anyways, thank you guys for joining us. We'll get you another episode before the new year. But as always, go for 3.
Go for 3.
Go, man.